topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Churchill said, "Those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it." Kevin Hallinan believes that certainly applies to business. Welcome to Winning Business Radio, here at W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. And now, your host, Kevin Hallinan.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in today. I am Kevin Hallinan, and welcome back to Winning Business TV and Radio on W4CY.com. We're streaming live on Talk4TV.com. That's the number 4. And, of course, we're on Facebook Live at Winning Business Radio. And absolutely, we're available after the show in podcast form on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, pretty much wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. It's hard to even count how many outlets we're on. The mission of Winning Business Radio and TV, as regular viewers and listeners know, is to offer insights and advice to help those, to help avoid the mistakes of others, to learn best practices. Those are the how-tos, the what not tos, the what tos, to be challenged and hopefully to be inspired by the successes of others. Those others are consultants, coaches, advisors, authors, founders and owners, entrepreneurs, people with expertise. But, I can't read today, Erika. We'll get there. Virtually every successful person I've ever had a chance to talk to has had some form of failure in their lives and careers. So while we all have to get our knees skinned once in a while, I'm driven to keep those scrapes from needing major surgery. Let's endeavor to learn from history, just like we do every week, so we don't repeat it. I've spent the better part of my career equipping businesses to grow, and that's from solopreneurs to small and medium-sized companies, all the way up to the Fortune 50. And I've seen some of those companies win, and to varying degrees, I've seen some of them fail. I've had the opportunity to rub elbows with some of the highest performing people around and with some who probably should have found other professions. So in my own businesses, I've had lots of success, but some failures too. And I like to think I've learned a lot from those experiences. So yeah, you'll hear a little bit from me, but mostly you're going to hear from guests, and today is no exception. My returning guest is Erika Wasserman, and here's her bio. Erika Wasserman is considered the go-to financial empowerment expert. She's a dynamic force in the world of financial transformation. Armed with a finance degree from the University of Florida and a decade-long career at IBM, she's also made waves in the organic food industry, bringing a unique mix of corporate savvy and innovative thinking to financial wellness. Newly published author with Wiley, Conversations with Your Financial Therapist, Stories and Scripts to Grow Your Financial Mindset, reflects Erika's passion for making money talk both accessible and transformative. Her own journey reads like an adventure novel: marriage, relocating to Asia, raising kids, divorce, dating, and the loss of a parent, experiences that have shaped her empathetic, holistic approach to financial well-being. Erika is just one of 100 certified financial therapists in the country, and she holds a graduate certificate in financial therapy from Kansas State University. She also created Let's Talk Finances conversation cards, igniting meaningful dialogue at every stage of life, and those are available on Amazon. She's been quoted in national media, including the New York Times, U.S. News and Report, NerdWallet, and Yahoo Money, and of course now Winning Business Radio. She's based in sunny South Florida. She's a devoted single mom to 3 teenage girls, and an avid traveler who explored 49 countries and counting. We'll talk about that. Whether through her engaging one-on-one sessions, impactful speaking engagements, or innovative tools, she's all about guiding her clients on a path to financial clarity and confidence. Erika, welcome to Winning Business Radio.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I feel like I need to keep you everywhere with me with that intro.
Let's go. Take me. I've been to Asia. It was not a great trip because it was 2 days to get there, 2 days there, and 2 days home. It was a work trip in and out. You stayed there for much longer, but and I will try to be less tongue-tied today. I don't know what's going
Am
on.
I making you nervous?
Oh, I'm so nervous. No, I don't get nervous. That's funny. But before we get started, tell me about your girls.
Yes. So we just had prom this past weekend.
Nice.
So I have 3 teenage daughters that are all in high school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that gets a yikes from me.
Mhm.
Father of 2 and 2 girls, 2 boys.
Yeah, and so, the joke around here is I live in a sorority house. So there's always noise,
Yeah.
music,
Yeah.
food. Somebody's hungry, somebody's crying, somebody's shopping. Amazon loves our house. I don't even know anymore, but it's fun. That's if you have the right attitude, it's fun.
It
Most of
absolutely
the
is. Yep.
but yeah, we just had prom this past weekend. My mom was in the hospital with back surgery.
Oh,
We talk about work-life balance, and
yeah.
last week
Yeah.
was really about life, right? I got to spend some time with my mom in the hospital, spend a couple nights there with her, and then get my daughter ready for prom. And then today alone, I've been on a webinar, a podcast, and now a radio show, right? We're locked into work this week.
You
So
gotta love it.
tell you work-life balance, it's
Yeah.
never on the same day is
Yeah.
what I've experienced.
That's okay. That's okay as long as you make it work. Did you grow up in Southern Florida?
You know what? I did. I am a Florida
All
native,
right. Nice.
which is rare.
Yeah.
And when I worked
It
for
is.
IBM, I ended up overseas. So I
Yeah.
ended up living 2 years in Tokyo, had my oldest daughter there, and then Shanghai, and then back to the US, had 2 more kids. So I had 3 kids under the age of 4
Wow.
when I was told I was getting a divorce.
Huh.
So in that
By the
agreement,
way.
newsflash, right? Like the banner coming underneath us, right?
Yeah.
Newsflash, this is what's happening.
How was
And
your
they
day, by the way?
By
Yeah.
the way, go to Florida. Your parents will be more helpful. And so the girls and I packed up and we did. We came down here 14 years ago.
Yeah.
The next town over that I grew up in. And it's been really nice because of the
Good.
community. You can't replace community
Yeah.
when you're raising children.
Yeah.
So it's been a really good place for us.
All right, let's wind the way back machine.
Mm.
High school-ish. What were your early interests? What were you into?
I mean, my first thing is dance. So I
Yeah.
was, a competitive dancer
Oh,
and,
cool.
and all of that. So for me, that's where my outlet was, my creative outlet. But my passion was math. I always loved math. I know. Cool kid, right?
No, that's good. Me too, actually.
My dad saw that in me, and he didn't have sons. So who knows genetically, if our family dynamic was different.
Hmm.
But and he saw that I liked math. And so we would always be talking about math, either going to the grocery store, paying the register back when cash was king.
Yeah.
And, he would say, how much change do we get back? And over the years, he showed me the binder, but then we started going into the end of life binder, talking about insurance.
Wow. Most parents do not do that. Yeah.
I didn't know that though. This was my upbringing, and his best friend
Yeah.
was an accountant. So talking about taxes was normal at lunch if I went to lunch with them, and it was when my dad passed away that the shock really hit. Not
Yeah.
only did I lose my accountability partner, but my mom of 50 years had lost
Yeah.
her accountability partner.
But it
Oh my-
sounded like she was probably well prepared for the non-emotional part, the business part, the
The
money
business part was all in place. The binder was there. She'd seen
Yeah.
it, but never been in it. And then I spent the next year really coaching her, supporting her as best as mother and daughter can do on some days.
Mhm.
On the understanding, the comprehension, and building the confidence. And without thinking, she actually became my first client in
Very
financial
cool.
therapy. And then I went and got a graduate certificate in financial therapy and then get certified in the field because my passion is really helping people. And this is something that I can do. There are a lot of things in life I cannot do.
Mhm.
Can't replace my roof. That's, decided to get redone, right? These are not my skill sets, but
Right.
we want to talk about decision making of when to replace versus patch. I will brainstorm with you all day long. But the actual physical work, I don't know how to build a roof.
So you got a finance degree versus a math degree. Did you know you were going to go into financial? That's a dumb question. Did you know you were going into finance? There we go. Because you
Yeah.
ended up in marketing.
Well, that was part of my loopity-loop of roller coaster
Okay.
of life.
Okay.
So yes, I got a finance degree and I went into
Yeah.
consulting. And so
Right.
that's what I did for a decade with IBM. When I was living in China, At that point, I had a 4-month-old, and I was on the search for organic baby food. Very, very hard to find. This is 18 years ago. Hard to find, kind of, period. Forget about hard to find in China at the time.
Yeah.
And there was a British mom that was using the pouch baby food. Now you see it as applesauce
For sure.
Everywhere now.
Yeah, my grandkids eat it. Yep.
But it wasn't back in the day. So Ella's Kitchen was a British brand. Paul Lindley, Ella's dad, created the pouch baby food. And so I was importing it from Hong Kong. And then when I moved to the US, I had friends from London shipping it to me. There was nothing on the market in the US.
Huh.
And so I emailed the company, being who I am, like, when are you coming to the US? This is crazy. And they said, we're coming. We just got to deal with that with Babies R Us. Oh, yeah. And I was living in Connecticut at the time. And so I met the CEO in a Dunkin' Donuts on the Lower East Side, and he hired me on the spot.
Very cool.
And in that moment, I then pivoted careers and started growing brands in the organic food space. Not only did I have the marketing, but also the sales side, because nobody had seen the pouch baby food. So I would go to trade shows with the sales team, who were older men, right, who didn't have babies at home. And I had to have pictures of my kids eating the food and showing people how you could eat the food, because it hadn't been, now it's everywhere. But at the time, nobody had seen it. And it was really fun working with an international brand, culturally, not only that, but breaking into new category, into the shelves in a grocery store.
New. Yeah.
What goes into it is mind-boggling.
And for those that don't know, that is a very difficult space to get. Yeah.
It is impossible. It's not impossible. It just costs a lot of money. So that's where it comes into money mindset. Which stores are you going to pay? So Babies R Us was their initial store, but it was nationwide. Coming from the UK was a good play. We're all over the country. As you know, in the US, the country's big. How do you decide marketing budgets? How do you decide target clients? Nebraska and New York City have different moms that you're talking to on different platforms. And so we had to re-strategize.
A company that size probably didn't have deep pockets either, or endless pockets.
I was packing up marketing boxes, PR boxes from my garage. Right? I mean, when you're a startup, that's the fun of it also, is that you're in every piece of the business because there's only a few of you and making a difference every day. It was fun.
So were you in Japan also?
I did. So I was 2 years in Japan.
Yep.
I was working in Asia, leadership and skill development, of going from a generalist mindset to specialized mindsets and skills for the sales teams is what I was restructuring. And I also had my first daughter while I was over there. So there was a lot of cultural things, cultural exchange happening in that time, not just from a business standpoint, but also from being a new mom for the first time overseas.
You know, I think a lot about the Eastern cultures, and they're really this is kind of an unfair statement. It's a broad brush, but it seems to me that mindset means more there than it does here.
In so many ways. And I'll just, so when I first child also, hospital stay, natural childbirth was 5 days. You want to make sure the baby's okay. They want to check mom was okay. It was just a very different feel. And 18 months later, I had my next kid in the US, and it was like, get you out, you're on your own.
That's right.
No family, no friends. We're not making sure, you know how to bathe the baby, just, you got to get out of the hospital. And so it was just, again, culture was very different. I'm glad I got to experience both. And the cool thing was, we just went back for my daughter's 18th birthday.
Oh, very cool.
The two of us. And I'm big into experiences over things. And so the two of us got to go back, and I got to show her, where I got to bring her home to, and the culture that she was born into. It was a very sweet moment.
So what would be your key takeaways from being in Asia? And you can even break those into China and Japan.
Two different environments. Everything's in it. So that's a really good question.
I love that question.
Because I get excited about exploring new things.
Mm.
And so when you live overseas, and this is before smartphones, right? This is 18 years ago. So everything was an adventure. The grocery store is an adventure. You got lost on every corner. Like, it was fun for me. Like, I enjoyed that exploring the world and exploring people, and you had to stop and ask for help. And, I really had to learn the language enough to get by, but also charades helps. And the connections that you would just make on the street or in the grocery store was really left a lasting impact for me, which is why I think I love my business so much, because I can help people all over the world. Money is like music.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter the currency. We all have a relationship with it. And because of my curiosity, I think it's helpful for me.
Money is like music. I like that a lot. All right. Hold that next thought. We're going to take our first commercial. We'll be right back with Erika Wasserman, certified financial therapist.
You're listening to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan on W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. Don't go away. More helpful information is coming right up, right here on Winning Business Radio.
Bestien Wealth Management is family-owned for 2 generations. They take pride in thoughtful financial planning and wealth management with a family feel for your closely held family business. Bestien Wealth Management focuses on deep planning, integrating your business planning with personal. They will help put your money to work and your mind at ease. Go to BestienWealthManagement.com for more information. Advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, a registered investment advisor. Join the Bestien family and let our family advise your family. That's BestienWealthManagement.com for your complimentary initial consultation.
Have you ever dreamt of being on the radio? Well, now is your chance. Be a radio show guest on the #1 ranked internet radio station and promote you and your business for free. Yes, you heard it, free. Business advertising right here on W4CY.com. Call 561-506-4031 now to get booked on one of our shows. That's 561-506-4031. Get your free advertising now.
And now back to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan, presenting exciting topics and expert guests with one goal in mind, to help you succeed in business. Here once again is Kevin Hallinan.
We're back with Erika Wasserman, certified financial therapist. Did you feel safe in China?
Yes.
Because we think of it as a communist country and,
Well, I mean,
it
yes.
is. But
so again, I was there 18 years ago, and,
Yeah.
There was protection on social media even back then, and social media wasn't as big as it is today. I had to register where we were living. You had to do a health inspection when you got there. There were certain precautions that were done, but especially being a young single woman walking the streets or out and about, I felt completely safe. Absolutely.
Were you in the city?
I was in Shanghai. Yeah.
Okay. City. Yeah.
We got to live in the city. The cool thing was my daughter was blonde hair and blue eyes. And so she was like a superstar over there.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
to go out was fun and not fun, right? It was fun because she got a lot of interactions. It wasn't fun when I was just trying to get to the grocery store and back.
Yeah. No pictures. Let's see. We're bouncing around here a little bit. What was tell me about, you stayed in food for a while and you used the word disruptive. So let's talk about Explore Cuisine. You were either with them or I got to be careful here. So you were with them. Okay. You were an employee, VP of marketing, about 6 years.
Yeah.
Tell us about that role.
You talked about in your intro, right? Business failures and business successes and things like that. And we've all had them. That's part of our journey. And sometimes we learn the most. So interesting enough, the founder was a food scientist, was exploring Asia when found tofu noodles, soybean noodles. Came up the idea, this is the alternative pasta space. And again, at this point now, it's 10 years ago at least, right? So before Banza, they came out around.
I'm celiac too, so I'm all about that now these days. Yeah.
Yes. And so the gluten-free was coming up, the high protein pasta. So that didn't exist on shelves in the grocery store. So now again, I'm cutting a new space in the category on a new aisle. And what happened was the initial brand was called Explorasia and black packaging. And, because he was exploring Asia when, you got these noodles and all of a sudden then created black bean and edamame noodles. And it was great. But you know what happened to our emails?
Yeah. Get spammed. Get blocked, right?
They would get blocked because they thought they were porn.
Oh, wow.
Right? Or other things that should not be in a business inbox.
Yeah.
So we were trying to contact companies and couldn't get our emails through, and having problems when you're doing marketing, adding, keywords and all that kind of stuff. So we did a complete rebrand to Explore Cuisine and changed the packaging and did, had to do a lot of case studies and focus groups to find the right look and feel for it. But that's a great way of learning when your marketing is right and when you have to pivot. And at that moment, we needed to pivot.
What was your best takeaway from that role in that company?
Oof. There was a lot of conflict in that company because of the different investors and different cultures. So we had Swiss investors, we had Israeli investors, you had a team in the US, production was in China and Thailand. So we had a lot of different voices and problems that were coming across. And so often it was trying to find that common thread between everybody to the success line. And it's challenging when you're dealing with different time zones and different cultural experiences.
All right. You started Wasserman Consulting 7 years and counting, right?
Yes.
What was behind that move?
Yeah. So I left Explore Cuisine and I thought, well, I'm just going to be doing consulting for different businesses. And along that line, you probably the dates in front of you better than I do, but along the same time is when I found out about financial therapy. I thought I'd be doing consulting and slowly grow my financial therapy piece of life. This was 2019, 2020 as a traveler.
Yeah.
I went to St. Lucia at a wellness resort. I talked to everybody. I like to explore and learn people and what they do, and made a connection with now a very good friend who did learning and development for Fortune 500 companies. Long story short, that was January 2020. Come May of 2020, she couldn't sell in learning and development, but together we could sell in financial wellness. Nobody was hiring for marketing consulting or consulting in the food business at that point, right? And so my first client was Warner Music. I went in and did corporate wellness on the topic of emotional stress around finances. And our second client was Discovery Channel globally.
Wow.
So 6-figure deal across the world, working with their client, with their employees, because while they had a job, family members were losing jobs. The uncertainty was what was weighing on people. And so we went in with a 2-part series on emotions and money, and what to do today and what to do in the future was the 2-part series to safeguard your mental space and to create boundaries around others when the topic of money came up. Because we don't talk about boundaries. We're great at spending money, but we're not good at saying, I'm protecting this. I'm putting the oxygen mask on me first when it comes to money. People haven't heard those things before. And that's what we empowered in corporate wellness.
So I know you said you had a moment where with your mom, right, helping her then, kind of your first client. When did you realize this could be a thing?
It's a great question. I probably learned that could be a thing when I was getting divorced.
Okay, firsthand.
Right? When I was 35, 3 kids under the age of 4, and the rug was pulled out from under me, but I knew the metrics. And so my confidence, I had a lot of questions. I had the confidence to ask them. And later on, when I started seeing people go through divorce, I was one of the first of my friends. The questions were there, but they weren't asking them. And they didn't know their financials. And then when my dad passed, I saw it for the next generation.
Just going to say, they didn't have whatever the equivalent is of a binder.
No.
Yeah.
No. And nowadays everything's digital anyway. So they didn't have passwords or anything. And so it's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm getting divorced or my husband died. Because often it's the woman that doesn't have the information. Sometimes it's flipped, but what I was seeing with my friends was they weren't aware of it, and nor were they taught, right? If we go back to school, you're not taught about taxes. You're not taught about investment accounts,
right?
Your beneficiaries. And so how are you supposed to learn this when you're not supposed to talk about money? And so that's when it all clicked for me, is like, this is something I can talk about on repeat all day long. And it really clicked for me again during that COVID timeframe when we're trying to get outside more. I attempted to run. So don't ask me to run a marathon, not my thing. And so I'm running to the end of the street and my head's down and I'm like, this stinks. This is awful, right? Physically, could I run? Absolutely. Mentally, I was like, and then I look up and across the way on the sidewalk on the other side of the street is a gazelle. This woman was in the matching outfit. She had the visor. The ponytail was swishing back and forth, and she just looked like a gazelle.
Effortless.
And I looked like a sweaty pig huffing and puffing to make it to the corner with my head down. And that's when I had the aha moment. This, I pointed to myself, right, is how people feel looking at their bank account. Right? Where I had these conversations, I'd done the training, I'd run in the rain, like everything she had to put in to look like a gazelle. I did all that work for the financial conversations.
That's a great analogy. You also do a lot of speaking, right?
Yes.
What kind of organizations would have you in case somebody from one of them is listening and watching?
Yes, everybody. I hate to say that because, everybody wants to give you a niche.
Yeah.
But the reality is we all have relationships with money. So I do a lot of work in the real estate industry, right? In fluctuating incomes. I work a lot with doctors and lawyers who are alphas in their fields, but nowhere in there is financial education.
Yeah.
And I work with a lot of financial advisors and RIAs and financial planning associations and different associations as well to help on the conversation side. So you have the people, the CPAs and the attorneys that are doing all the dollars and cents for us, but they're not looking you in the eye and taking a smile and just drop your shoulders, right? To listen to you as a human. Because this isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about all the other senses.
Yeah. There's a lot of emotion there, right?
In everything from buying a house to getting divorced to, probate to business. I've worked with business owners that don't see eye to eye, right? You get into business with somebody, but your financial values are different. You don't talk about that, nor do you realize it until you start trying to hire people or spend on marketing. And, and all of a sudden, instead of respect, you're just clashing all the time. And so I go in and help people understand the why behind it. Why is it so important to you? And why is it so important to you? Is there a thread between these two? And if not, how can we just build respect if not?
Sounds like some mediation there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it companies that often hire you on behalf of their people, or do people hire you as well?
Both. So companies will go in, I do workshops and webinars, which I love because then it hits all income levels. You get your new college hire when we're talking about 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings. Forget about how to call the cable company, right? We get like the very intro stuff all the way through to your C-level executives that are talking about private school and college, what are they going to pay, their ungrateful kids, values they want to pass on. So when I work with corporate, I love that I get the whole range. And then I also work with individuals that want to grow their financial confidence. So we dig a little deeper on the one-on-one, like you can imagine.
Yeah.
That you get to do.
You have more time and you have more, it's just that one person. So you're focused on them versus the whole. Yeah. All right, we're going to take our second commercial right here. We'll be back in about 60 seconds with Erika Wasserman.
You're listening to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan on W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. Don't go away. More helpful information is coming right up, right here on Winning Business Radio.
Bestien Wealth Management is family-owned for 2 generations. They take pride in thoughtful financial planning and wealth management with a family feel for your closely held family business. Bestien Wealth Management focuses on deep planning, integrating your business planning with personal. They will help put your money to work and your mind at ease. Go to bestienwealthmanagement.com for more information. Advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, a registered investment advisor. Join the Bestien family and let our family advise your family. That's bestienwealthmanagement.com for your complimentary initial consultation.
The YP.com website is your local search engine. If you're looking for a good restaurant, it can help you find the right one nearby with ratings and reviews. Or if your car breaks down, you can use the YP app to find the closest repair shop. Or maybe you're just looking for something to do on a Friday night. Well, it has great local coupons for all sorts of things in your area. No matter what, when, or where, if you're looking for something, YP Local Search can help you find it. So go to YP.com or download the app to search local, find local, and save local.
And now back to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan, presenting exciting topics and expert guests with one goal in mind, to help you succeed in business. Here once again is Kevin Hallinan.
We're back with Erika Wasserman, and she is one of only 100 or so certified financial therapists in the country. Does a good thing for you. Why is it so underknown, perhaps?
Yeah, it was so financial therapy was created in 2008 when the crash happened.
Okay.
And so a bunch of financial people got in a room with a bunch of psychologists in a room up in Kansas State. And they started to talk about how the mental impact was weighing on people, right? When the crisis happened. And so financial therapy was created in that room. And then the Financial Therapy Association was born out of that idea. And so it created in 2008. So we're really in our infancy. If you think about careers, which always makes it fun when I walk into a cocktail party and people ask me what I do. You know, one day I can't wait to walk in and say I'm a dentist and get the recognition that like, oh yeah, I got one of those, right? When I walk in and I say financial therapist, they're like, what? You know, my kids just look at me and I was like, do you want to tell them?
They've probably heard it. So what do you mean when you say financial behavior? Tell the audience what you mean by that.
Yeah. So let's take a cup of coffee. So Kevin, do you normally make your coffee at home in the morning, or are you the guy that likes to go to the coffee shop?
I do it here. Now, if I'm out, I'll get one, either a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks. But when I'm home, I always make it. And it depends on the temperature out. Right now, it's all iced coffees.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. So our financial behaviors are decisions that we make all day long around money. We really only check in on ourselves on the big ones, right? Like buying a house, or you go out to a family dinner and everybody looks at you to pay the bill, right?
Yeah.
That's when you get that gulp feeling. But we make financial decisions all day long, every day. And it's often on autopilot because we don't talk about it. So how can you get better at something if you're not working on it or even aware of it? So we get our money mindset from 3 ways. Shall I tell you?
Please.
All right. So the first one is our background, how your parents talked about money or didn't talk about money, or argued over money. So I'll ask you, normally I'll do this question. Cambridge did a study, you get your money mindset at the age of 7. So in the US, 7 is first grade. Think about your lunch table in first grade. What were you eating? Did mom pack you a homemade lunch? Were you eating the free? Okay. Was she eating the free lunch at school? Were you not eating? And it's a good clip in time for you to start thinking. When I did this in a group workshop, you said mom made you lunch.
Early on, she was a teacher. So after a while, we all were so busy. And as we got a little bit older, she'd just give us lunch money.
Right. So when you're smaller, that first grade, I had a group workshop, and one woman said, we didn't have a lot of money. It was store brand stuff, and it was full of crap, right? Lots of carbs, but like there was enough in there just to call it quote unquote lunch, but no protein. And she was envious of the people who got the hot lunch. The woman who got hot lunch said I was getting free lunch, and I was embarrassed to go through the line because I didn't have money to buy lunch. And I was envious of the person that got to trade the snacks at the lunch table.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? So your money mindset,
the dynamic, you make judgments. We make judgments at that age.
And it sticks with us.
Yeah.
And it shows up today in your business and in your personal life, which is wild. So background, first one. Second is religion and culture. Often money is greed. Money doesn't buy you happiness. Culturally, men are decision makers. And in fact, 50 years ago, women couldn't even open up their own bank account.
Yeah, that's insane.
When my mom graduated college and got her first job, my grandfather had to be the co-signer on her bank account.
Wow.
Right? So empowering women with money is a relatively new skill to a lot of people. And the third one is experiences. We'll go back to marketing. You have a great experience with a flyer, sending out flyers to people's homes. You're going to be doing that for the next 30 years. Times have changed. Flyers don't work as well. Flyers might be Instagram ads. But your experience is that it was great. You might not be ready to look at change. And the flip side is that did nothing for me and I did it once, I'm not touching it again. And that comes into our money mindset for everything that we do, from travel, buying a house, building a business, getting married, how we're raising our kids. All of these decisions come into our financial psyche.
We find with salespeople, I think we chatted about this a couple of weeks ago, mindsets around money determine some impact to selling success. We identify, and you do too, I'm sure, whether you call it the same things or not, it doesn't matter. Abundance versus scarcity, right?
Yep.
Somebody has a scarce mindset, they're going to hang on to a prospect for too long. Like the organization we referenced, right?
Yep.
Somebody else might hang on to that for too long because it's a good opportunity versus being willing to take hands off because it's not real today. Somebody with abundance realizes, oh, there's another potential customer down the street or around the corner or in my Rolodex or my database.
The conversation I had earlier with real estate agents.
Yeah.
One woman was like, the houses I sell are in the $400,000 range. Why?
That's pretty limiting, isn't it?
I mean, there's somebody selling in the $10 million range and there's somebody selling in the $100,000 range, right? Like that's where you're comfortable. And we know growth happens in the uncomfortable. And so what's holding you back or what's living rent free in your head telling you that you can't do it? And that's the work that I get into, is identifying that message that we have on repeat. So that way you can blow your goals out of the water, right? But with that being said, I'm going to shift gears for a second, because your goal could be, I want to make $1 million. Have you heard that before?
Sure. Yep.
What happens when they make $1 million?
They don't have it.
Why not?
Because nobody makes, well, this is my take on it at least. Nobody makes $1 million at one time. It's cumulative, right? When you hit 1 million, some people can't believe it. Some people kind of coast at that point, and others realize I can do it and go for it even more. So it depends, I think, on their mindset. Is that where you're going?
Yes. Oftentimes we'll see is I make $1 million, they move the goalpost.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to make $1 million. Well, now $1 million's not enough. I want to make 2 million.
Okay. Yeah.
And I did this with a bond trader years ago, not married, in his early 30s. How much is enough for you? I can't give you a number, Erika. Give me a number. Let's play. Give me a number. And he goes, 50 million. And I said, okay, you need 50 million. And then he goes, but wait, then I'm going to have a boat and my boat's going to be next to this guy and he's going to have a bigger boat. And now I'm going to need 100 million, right?
Yeah.
Because he's chasing a number.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to 3 words: rich, wealthy, and happiness. As we're building our businesses, I want you to keep these 3 words in mind. So I'm going to ask you the definition to give me, Kevin. What's the definition of rich?
I know we're going to distinguish this from wealthy, so I got to start with that premise. Rich to me sounds like new money. I could be way off base, but it sounds to me like new money. I have a bunch of money. I don't have to worry about what I spend. Wealthy to me sounds like I'm used to it. I'm probably in a better place with it, even though I still don't have to care what I spend or what I spend it on.
And happiness?
Doesn't matter how much money you have for happiness.
Okay. So the way that we define it is rich is the exterior wins, your nice clothes.
Okay.
Rich is what other people see. They see your car. They see your sign outside your office building, right? That's rich. Your
That's
vacations on Instagram, you know, exterior wins is rich. Interior wins is wealthy. So when I ask people, what's a wealthy life for you? They're going to say my health. They're going to say sipping my coffee wherever I want in my favorite spot. Time with my loved ones. A dollar amount is on there to achieve everything, but it's normally 4 or 5 on the list to live a wealthy life. And happiness is a mindset.
That is true. I believe that. Yeah.
How many people have you met are rich, but unhappy?
I can tell you a story about that. A guy that one of the 2 people I fired in my business, and I've seen him since, and he's much better. But at the time, he was not coachable. He wasn't doing what I asked him to do, and he was trying to save his job. He was a financial advisor for a large branded company. They were paying him literally zero, and he was trying to stop from getting fired from a position that didn't cost the employer any money. And so I said, you know, what's going on? I'll call him Charlie. Charlie, what's going on? He said, Kevin, I lied to you. And uh-oh. I'm thinking, what happened? He said, I don't ever have to worry about money. I have a trust fund. This is not what I want to do. I thought it was, and I gave you money, and here I am. And so, yeah, you should fire me. But I did see him later, and he had put it together. He had figured it out.
Yeah.
I just wasn't the guy that was going to help him at that time.
Yeah, and that's okay too, right? Is knowing what does work and doesn't work and pivoting. And I see it often when people sell a business. They've been so busy in the business, on the business, that wealthy that we just talked about, the relationships, the health piece, isn't there. And so it's important as we grow to be putting things in each of the buckets. And again, back to my travels, I've gone to, you know, a lot of third world countries that people are really happy, not rich, but they're wealthy, sitting on a beach, watching a beautiful sunset, having a picnic with, you know, with their loved ones. And so as we grow as individuals, as owners, it's really important to be investing in your wealth, however you define it, and that the happiness is the mindset every day that you choose what to do with the rich as well, right? Like it's not just about what other people say.
So take us into a couple conversations, of course, anonymously, but how do you get people to change their mindsets?
Interesting. So I was recently working with a woman in her mid 50s, working for government in Canada, and has a pension for the rest of her life, right? Perks of outside the US. And for her dad was an entrepreneur, and they lost their home twice in her childhood.
Wow.
7 and 14. Remember I told you about 7, mind age for your money, and then again 14 as a teenager. So very was impactful for her. So she went with the job that government job that she could get paid every week, every month, whatever it was, stability, house is paid off, just really responsible from that standpoint. But when she met me, she said, I'm horrible with money. What do you mean you're horrible with money? Your house is paid off. You're in your 50s. Most people can't say that. I mean, that's amazing. And as we started digging through the work from her childhood, her dad had income. He was an entrepreneur, would have income and then no income. And when he had money, he would spend it all. And then when he ran out of money, he would go to her and ask for money.
Ooh.
14, 15, 16, right? So we need to pay the electric bill, and she would save her money. So she learned at a very young age not to save any money.
Wow. That's not where I thought you were going with that.
If you had it, it was somebody else's. So let's just spend. Let's buy things for others. Let's treat for dinner. Because otherwise, come up 3 months from now, when dad runs out of money, I'm not going to have it anymore. Wow. Married, her husband at a certain point realized this. He took over the savings part of their finances, but any money in her account was going out the door. And so recognizing that pattern and then shifting it to be like, your money's safe now. You're the one who's in control. And because the patterns that we have keep showing up because nobody's talking about it. We're not evaluating it. We're not doing assessment.
Right. We're not aware of it. Yeah.
No, she had no idea.
Wow. So you've got to ask a lot of questions. You've got to really spend time with somebody.
It's questions, and it's a lot of open-ended questions. So I'll give you another example. A client that I worked with, the company identified him to come work with me. He was now a partner in the business, and they're like, he could use some conversations. I want his family set up for success. And as we started talking, trust issues around money, who to trust, and hadn't filed taxes in over a decade.
Ooh.
Because once you miss one, you're embarrassed, shameful. You get busy, life happens, you forget about it the next year. Oh, I didn't file last year, I'm not going to file this year. Again, patterns emerge. Now you're at an age where you want to buy a house maybe, or you're going to sell a business. I mean, you can't. You got to go back and fix it up. But there wasn't trust with people that could do it for him. And so by working through me and through others, and we were able to find him with a support team of people, an accountant, a financial a tax attorney, right? And then soon a financial advisor once we get the money situated, and a realtor and everybody else that's going to be part of the next stage of life. Because what he was doing was just ignoring his relationship. And you and I know, if you ignore something long enough, it's going to blow up on you.
This is incredible. This is better than I thought it would be. And I knew you were going to be a fun guest. So a couple of last questions. Who in the viewing and listening audiences should reach out to you, and why? We'll get to the how in a second.
Anybody. I only take motivated clients. So that's number one.
Got it.
And somebody who's ready to work on their mindset around money. Somebody who's ready to grow and make a difference in their life, not just from the money standpoint, but it also impacts your health, your relationships with others, your spouse, your boss, your parents, your siblings, depending on what's going on in your life, and your employees. So if you're looking to bring in workshops and webinars and conversations to help your employees not just get the paycheck, but what happens once they get home. This is a skill that's with you to the day you die, and actually afterwards, because of estate planning. So the better you get at having conversations, the better you're going to be in so many different aspects, which is why I wrote the book, Conversations with Your Financial Therapist, is to give people a 5-step approach, a mindset, a framework to go through any money conversation. If you're in HR with your boss, all the way to with your aging parents, like how do you sit down and have that productive conversation? And the money mindset method helps you through that.
All right. Plug the book one more time, and where can they get it?
Yes. So you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the great places. Conversations with Your Financial Therapist, stories and scripts to grow your mindset. I also do book studies for continuing education on that as well. So
there's the website in the crawl right there. There's your LinkedIn profile. Best way for people to reach you is the site?
The site, Absolutely. yourfinancialtherapist.com. Drop me an email, hit me up on Instagram or LinkedIn, and I'm happy to be in touch with you. Absolutely. Start a conversation today. That's your one takeaway. Start the conversation you've been putting off.
This is great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Time flies. It's already 4:50 Eastern. We got to get off. But thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
All right. You bet. See you soon. And
Bye.
thank you, audience, for being here. This is all about you. This is about business and business challenges. Often finance, in this case, is tied to business a lot. If you've got concerns, reach out to Erika. If you've got concerns about the sales effectiveness of your company, whether it's you or the sales team, or it's small or large, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn at Winning Business Radio, or drop me a note, kevin@winningbusinessradio.com. We are Winning Incorporated, part of Sandler Training. We develop sales teams into high achievers and sales leaders into true coaches and mentors. Listen, we're not a fit for everybody, but maybe we should have a conversation. Thank you once again to Juan, our engineer and producer, for another job well done. Please join us next week, Monday, May 11th. My guest will be Jonathan Bello, founder and owner of 1-8 Solutions. Until then, this is Kevin Hallinan.
You've been listening to Winning Business Radio with your host, Kevin Hallinan. If you missed any part of this episode, the podcast is available on Talk4 Podcasting and iHeartRadio. For more information and questions, go to winningbusinessradio.com or check us out on social media. Tune in again next week and every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time to listen live to Winning Business Radio on W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. Until then, let's succeed where others have failed and win in business with Kevin Hallinan and Winning Business Radio.